Hello, Professor Tudori. This is Group 12.1, and we will present our hotel 121. Our hotel is located in the city center, and it's a four-star hotel. Based on the information given in the package on LMS, we have decided our positioning will be face-to-face competition, so we will be competing with the majority of the hotels. And in terms of the target segments, we chose groups, premium, and bar rate. Why we chose these groups? Because firstly, it's a very huge business base that customers come for business, and even in the high seasons, there will be larger groups and also local attractions, which will also attract these small groups. And premium is also a group with high net profit and also bar rate, which will be the major part of occupancy. In terms of the long-term business strategy, to compete with the majority of other competitors, we have decided to practice moderate price with relatively high quality of service, so we can attract more customers than our competitors.
So concerning the pricing objective, the goal was to have an ADR index just above or around 100. The pricing strategy, as we're doing face-to-face competition, we are going to do a competitor-based strategy. And concerning the pricing decisions, we decided to put relatively high price during weekdays and lower during the weekends. We have calculated first the direct pricing and then calculate the rates for OTAs, GDS, and wholesale, adding the corresponding commission in order to have a high ADR. Concerning the quarter one, on this graph you can see the green line corresponds to the ADR. During the first quarter, we didn't know the competition yet, so we tried to put an average rate, which ended to be really low. But this quarter integrates January, so that's when we had the low rate. And in February, we decided to increase it a little bit more, though it wasn't high enough. But in March, we accepted a very large group. We offered them a rate of 110, and they accepted. Therefore, we had to rise our transients rate higher than usual. But unfortunately, we didn't take advantage of that group. We actually didn't rise enough the transients and didn't compensate the loss.
So how did we calculate the request for proposal, the minimum rate? With the formula contribution of displaced room plus the contribution of the ancillary. And we found out that the variable cost per room is 30% of the total room revenue. So the contribution of the displaced room will be equal to the number of room displaced times the ADR minus the 30% of this ADR. And we came out to have 110 in the first group request and 118, which was.
And then for the facilities and services, we choose to launch these facilities according to our target group, where we launch services such as foreign exchange, Wi-Fi, and also according to the guest survey attached in the information package, we found out that our target consumers value entertainment and services. So that's why we also installed the guest room entertainment and guest laundry in order to satisfy them.
So in terms of the distribution allocation, we decided to base our numbers on the table which was extracted from the information package. This gave us a good idea of the demand per channel from the previous year, and in turn we were able to satisfy the demand for each segment. We can see that in March we were able to take a request for proposal from a group, which accounted for a great percentage of our occupancy, and such month gave us a real boost into our market penetration index.
Regarding our first quarter, we used 4% of our total revenue to spend in our marketing and advertising and expenses. For advertising expenses, we decided to not start off very aggressively. And for all of the 4 quarters, we based our marketing and advertising expenses on distribution channels and who we were targeting. So, such as for premium and bar rate customers, we were more aggressively targeting them rather than the OTAs and the wholesalers. For our refurbishment, decided to be very aggressive from the beginning. So we did all the refurbishment that we could given our budget.
So now for the quarter 2. The quarter 2 was actually our best quarter. It includes April, May, and June. The performance was generally above average, gradually increased. As you can see, the ADR highly increased for May. And as a result, well, we had a higher revenue, but a lower occupancy. That was one maybe of our errors in the goal that we had set. As we increased the ADR, but our occupancy went down.
And then for the radon facilities, we decided to keep the current facilities we have, and then we need to save money for transportation van because currently, until first quarter, we can't afford the transportation van because it's really expensive. And then we got all the positive feedback from customers saying that they're satisfied with our current facilities, and so we decided to keep it and save money for another expensive facility.
So after analyzing the first quarter results for the distribution allocation, we realized that we didn't achieve a market penetration index of 1, and that was our aim. So for the second quarter, we decided to change a little bit the distribution of our rooms, aiming more for, or distributing more of rooms through a direct channel rather than OTAs or GDS, specifically to reduce the transaction cost. So the changes we made were specifically in OTA and GDS, but excluding wholesale, because for wholesale we kept it untouched as it only contains values for tour. We realized that the objective was not properly achieved since we recorded a lower occupancy percentage than we were expecting, and the main reason for this is that our hotel was not yet too visible or accessible to our market segment.
For our second quarter, for marketing expenses, we realized that we weren't spending enough money for advertising. Therefore, we increased the amount that we spent to target those we wanted to. However, how much we spent on advertising and what we did for distribution channels did not match. For example, for distribution channels, we increased the amount for direct customers. So, however, we did not do so for marketing, for advertising. Regarding our refurbishments, we continued to aggressively refurbish all the rooms that we could, given our budget.
Here it comes to the financial analysis for quarter 1 and quarter 2. As you can see here, we have a 18% net profit, which is quite good. And also the net income, we have achieved 40%, which is highly above average, which is 25%. However, the ROE, return on equity, is not so good because until now we have only achieved 2.88%. Here we have the quarter 3. In quarter 3, we have accepted the group in July. And because of the group, our ADR was dragged down again. Even though me and my partner and I, we tried to improve the rates for transients and also other segments, but it still was below average. And then we tried to pull the price up in August and September. So here you can see the rates, they are above average. As a result, though we tried to pull up the price, the occupancy went down and the RevPAR was also quite low. So we were not satisfied with this performance in this month.
And then for the facilities and services, upon 2 quarters of accumulation, we finally have the funds to purchase the transportation van. So we did so, and then we keep all the rest facilities in the hotel to see if our customer will be more satisfied if we add this transportation van.
Now, in terms of the distribution allocation for quarter 3, we realized the big mistake that we did in quarter 2. So we decided to go back again to the distribution allocation that we did for the different channels in quarter 1. We can notice now in the month of July that we accepted a group request. However, in the next 2 months, occupancy went relatively low. Therefore, from the month of July, achieving a market penetration index of 100.7, we went down to a market penetration index of 86.0 in September. And such change in index warned us to make or to take immediate action for the following quarter.
For quarter 3, our marketing expenses, we continue to increase our advertising and to target those we wanted our hotel to be seen. For refurbishment, due to our revenue not increasing as much as we hoped it would, we didn't have enough money to refurbish the rooms, therefore increasing our quality of the hotel. In addition, we couldn't refurbish the rooms that we could for either of the 2 reasons. The first reason being a group request, therefore we couldn't have the rooms out of order, and the second reason being it was also in high season, therefore we wanted as many rooms as possible to be available to our guests.
We come to quarter 4. In quarter 4, we had a quite flat and also smooth ADR. 3 months of quarter 4, they're both above average. Though we had a low occupancy because of all the factors we have mentioned before, and in the end, it was not the best result.
So in quarter 4, we didn't add any other facilities and services because basically we don't have enough funds. So this is the overall facilities and services we have for the hotel in the entire year. So in the conclusion, according to our guest survey and feedback, they're very satisfied with our facilities.
For quarter 4, the distribution allocation we decided to give some rooms to wholesale, given that the high season was already over and it was our best attempt at attracting the majority of guests possible. Such strategy allowed us to increase our market penetration index from September to October by 2.8 points. Another group in the competitive set was able to take a request for a proposal, and that lowered our market penetration index to 71.1 points. However, in December we were able to increase it to a value of 86.5.
For our last quarter, for our marketing expenses, we went in the same direction as distribution channels, increasing how much we spend for wholesalers. In addition, we continue to increase our expenses for advertising due to our feedback being very positive. Regarding our refurbishment for our last quarter, we realized that we could only clean our rooms twice per year, and since we only used both of those chances more in the beginning of the year, we couldn't do it for the end of the year. Hence, the decrease in our quality.
Here you see the financial analysis for both Q3 and Q4, and also as well as the end of the year. And sadly, our net profit has gone down to 6%. It was at the beginning like over 10%. But we had a good GOP. You can see here it's 3%. It's still above average, which is good news. But our ROE at the end of the year is only 5.53%. Our objective at the beginning was 8%, so we didn't really achieve the objective for ROE. Though there was 1 month we had an ROE with 1%. However, during that month we didn't do any refurbishment and marketing, and we knew it's not the right decision to sacrifice our refurbishment if we want a high ROE. So it's kind of hard to balance between a good ROE and also the cost. In conclusion, first of all, the rate. We had 2 objectives at the beginning. The first one, ADR above average, and generally during the whole year, our ADR was above average, so objective achieved. The second one, competitor-based strategy. Yes, as Anna Al has mentioned, during Q1 and Q2, we based on the leader, and the Q3 and Q4, we based on our biggest competitor, the Giant Hotel, and we basically charged the similar price with the hotel.
In conclusion, for our refurbishment, we realized that our timing was a little off. So we realized we made a mistake of refurbishing as much as we could more in the beginning of the year rather than gradual increase. Therefore, our quality of hotel decreasing over time. Regarding our marketing and advertising, we had a gradual increase on how much we spent on our advertising because we realized we wanted to be more and more visible to our customers, and hence the positive feedback more in the later of the year.
Financially, in terms of net profit and GOP, we did very well. We had 39% at the end of the year. It was highly above average. However, ROE, we were below the objective. We had only 5.53%, though our objective was 8%.
In terms of the distribution channel, we realized, or we learned that it was crucial to link the distribution allocation of rooms in different channels to our advertising campaign. That was definitely one of our biggest mistakes, and by doing that, specifically in the second quarter, we realized that we became opaque to our market segment, who didn't really know us. We weren't very popular, and we didn't outstand among the competitive set, and for that reason, we did not achieve such a high occupancy level. So our recommendation for the distribution channel would be to not limit the capacity of rooms distributed through OTA and GDS, because this to distribution channels, even though they do have a transaction cost, they contribute to a great part of our occupancy.
Finally, it comes to the recommendations we provide to our hotel and also our own performance.
In the short term, we make decisions based not only on competitors, but on our own hotel situation during the months. We need a more comprehensive understanding of the project's objectives and market before making decisions. Difficult group requests occurred during the period. We had twice the group request and we didn't take advantage of it, unfortunately. And because even if we charge much higher, as our quality was not as expected, the customers just decided to go to competitors as we all have a face-to-face competition. In the long term, we thought about advertising and distribution recommendations. We don't have to discriminate OTAs, GDS, and wholesales because they are the ones bringing us the customers, therefore increasing our occupancy. So we think that communication and the distribution should get together and elaborate a strategy. Also, if we had continued the Revsim process, we would have refurbished, as we had twice a group and we didn't have the funds to do it again. So, thank you, Professor, for watching our video. I hope it matched your expectation. Goodbye.